everybody. How you guys doing? Welcome back to this week's podcast. I'm Alex.
And it's Jesse. We're
And
back.
we're back. We're here to do another wonderful, fabulous podcast. We're going to talk
Okay.
about some pretty cool things today. Jesse, how you been doing?
I'm good. Let's make sure that everybody out there in YouTube land can see and hear us because it's not a Linux podcast if you don't troubleshoot on the air.
I got nobody in the chat
Levels,
yet.
that's okay. Levels look good. I saw your initial chats from earlier. So, yeah, it's been an interesting week for me. I didn't rage quit this time.
No rage quitting?
No rage quitting. Although, if I remember right, I think I saw in the Discord either last night or this morning. My mic is a little blown out, Melissa says. Oh, thank you, Melissa.
Thank you,
Okay.
Miss Melissa.
So I'm going to pull it down just a little bit here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I guess we should be better now. You know, I think it's weird that our levels that we see don't always match with what YouTube does. But yeah. Melissa, is it a little bit better now that I pulled the mic down some?
Hope so.
Me too. Better. Yay. Woohoo.
I am sending out a message right now. Oh, Discordia. Over Discordia. I just sent out a message over Discordia that we are actually on. Hopefully, we'll have some people joining the chat.
Oh, of course. You know, we always got our folks that like to straggle in. It's a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's awake right now.
No. Well, maybe, or they're just still coming off their like 29-hour freaking binge session of either, like gaming or whatever, doing live games or,
Are you kidding? Some people aren't even in bed yet from last night. I remember gaming like that. And now instead of playing games or practicing guitar, I install software.
Install software? Hola!
Hey.
That's Hisham. Oh, nice.
Nice. So, yeah, what I was saying when we were joking about rage quitting, I think I saw over in the Discord that Hammerhead was getting ready to rage quit something.
Oh, he watched the video that I did on Zenwalk Slackware, and he wasn't a Slackware kind of guy. And I said, yeah, well, he says it looks interesting though. I said, well, you know what? I told him, I said, go ahead,
give it a try.
Yeah, I said, give it a try. Yeah, I was like, go ahead, give it a try. It's an oldie but a goodie. I mean, been around a while. This, that, and other. He has issues with the builds, the Slackware, for building your programs and stuff in there. So, so
I always thought using slap-get as the syntax was a little cheesy.
Yeah, but so I mean, you gotta understand that you're trying to get probably what was a early 90s reference, of a joke to today's modern time, which just it's outdated. So
yeah.
So anyhow, so he tried it, and then he forgot how much he hated the slack, get and all that kind of crap. And so so he's like, forget this, I'm rage quitting. So he decided to quit, and he went back. He's going to Nutix.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he wants me to do a review on Nutix. He's asked me to do a review on Nutix, so I figured I might go ahead and look into that. But I don't know where at 10 Lee J or Josh is at, but
somebody get him to crash through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man.
Because he requested a Gen 2 video, and I got one coming out.
Yeah, word on the street is if you want him to show up, you have to turn off all the lights and say Gen 2 3 times over an SSD.
Probably. So
Josh.
We love Josh. I love Josh. He, yeah, we're gonna have to get him on the show one time for sure.
Oh, 100%. Before I get into today's first topic,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I want to say I almost wound up giving Gen 2 a try this week.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
Nice.
I was
Melissa
having
says that your
so.
mic is still a little off.
Hmm, maybe I'll just put it up here. Hopefully that's better.
Yeah, there you go.
The levels look good, and on soundcheck we were fine, so I'm
Yeah,
confused.
it's just the way it comes across, man. I don't know. OBS and
Yeah,
Discord and all that does
YouTube
some
does.
weird crap.
Yeah, OBS does what it does. YouTube does what it does.
Mm-hmm. So you almost gave Gen 2 a try.
I almost did because I played with. I played with. Let's see. She doesn't know how to explain. That's fine.
That's fine.
Thank you. We'll definitely do a after the show tinker.
Yep.
Is it unbearable?
I I think you sound. I could, hear you okay, and you sound.
I have a feeling that she's actually describing an EQ quality of life. Hey
What's up,
guys, I'm on
Ben?
Gen 2. Hey
Ben
Ben, how
from
you doing?
Storm OS is in the chat, and he's on Gen 2. He says, "Interesting."
That's that's it. This is now officially a Gen 2 video.
It is officially a Gen 2 video. And Josh can be happy.
Okay, so cool things out in Linux world. Uh, Ben's being friendly. So if you do any sort of graphic work on Linux, whether it's games or production or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you have probably encountered Mesa drivers.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're new to Linux, before you install your Nvidia proprietary drivers, if you
Mm-hmm.
have it, or the AMD drivers, you're going to be using Mesa out of the box.
Right.
So the quarterly release for 2023, Mesa 23.2 is out. And it was actually delayed a little bit, but there's a lot of people who are excited
I'm showing
because there's
him
a
the
ton.
article right now.
Yeah. Uh, so there's a ton of ray tracing updates and things are being done for AMD cards. I'm hearing that AMD is going to be blowing things out of the water because they're moving towards being very ray tracing heavy.
Right.
So I'm really excited because the release of this version of Mesa and also the open source NVIDIA Vulkan drivers are finally coming out. They're
Nice.
working on pipeline caching right now. So I'm really excited to see what Nouveau is going to look like in the coming months.
Okay. So
Nouveau, yeah,
so you're like mixing two topics that you were.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So
Because I think you can't really talk about one without the other
you
because
can
the
talk
Mesa
about them
updates.
independently. You definitely can.
I mean, you could, but the Mesa updates are actually rolling over in part into the NVK drivers too.
Right.
That advertisement photo is bloated. Oh boy.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. So have you guys
Good morning, DT. How you doing?
used used Nouveau recently? Because I did to do some installs, and that's probably all I would do with it in its current state.
So
It's good enough to
I
get an
don't have
install done.
Nvidia. I don't have Nvidia. I haven't used Nvidia for years. I switched to AMD a long time ago, and
Right.
and honestly, what piques my interest is the ray tracing improvement, because I got to tell you, when I got my XT card, right, and I put it in my box and I used it, and there was that whole ray tracing thing, and they were talking about, and I went from an R9 to that, and so when I did that, the upgrade was like visually stunning. I mean, my
For
eyeballs
sure.
probably just wound up like having an orgasm. You know what I'm saying? It was like, what the hell? It was such a difference, right? And the one part that stood out to me was the actual ray tracing that they were talking about. I could finally see what the difference was that everybody's making all the rage about. I mean, it was just the light shadowing and all that was just so amazing. I was like, holy cow. I mean, this is what I've been missing out on, And I'm not a huge gamer, and I think that could
No,
be,
but good graphics make a huge difference in your computing experience in general.
well, yeah, in general, completely. I mean, especially in what my mind went to is like when I started, creating action, like backgrounds and stuff for different videos, and that kind of stuff, doing, editing pictures and stuff like that. That's where I could see a lot more clarity and detail too. And I was simply stunned, at the quality that was coming out of the graphics card. And what was even better is I didn't have to buy as DT said, about bloated. I didn't have to buy a super bloated price for green, to get the same quality out of AMD as Team Red.
Yeah,
I literally
I
spent
have not
fractions.
had
I
it.
think I spent like $300 on the graphics. Got it on the.
I think that my last AMD card wasn't even an AMD card. I think it was still when they were ATI graphics.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say it might have been an AGP card. So
Oh, wow.
if you're playing at home and you know what AGP is, your back hurts, and I'm sorry. Uh,
that was
I
back when
don't
they were
even know
literally
if.
like a 16th the size of what they are today in
Oh
graphics
yeah,
card.
oh
Wow.
yeah, and I've been Team Green for a long time, mostly. By the way, I use Intel Arc. Oh my
Josh
God.
is in the house.
I knew if we said Gen 2 enough times he would show up.
Right.
You use the proprietary. Yeah. DT, I have to say
Yeah.
you're right. Now,
I've advised
as
everybody of that to use the proprietary. Go
yeah, I don't
download it
use
from
the
their webpage, install them.
yep.
That's exactly my advice.
I use the DT. Do you use repo versions or do you use the direct download from Nvidia? I know that Alex and I have a difference of opinion on that. I don't like doing the manual install because I like having the DKMS versions so that I'm not reinstalling every time there's a kernel update.
I
Okay, Josh said my audio is completely
completely
blown
blown
out.
out. Oh my god.
Okay, so Melissa heard it. We're not hearing it.
Go ahead and make it whatever. By the way, Josh, next Monday is going to be a video just for you on Gen 2. You got no sound now, Jesse. Oh, now barely heard you. Ben says he has Nvidia on his primary laptop, and he won't touch Novu with a 10-foot pole. Yeah, it's just better to download the proprietary ones and use them. Whether you do the DKMS or the manual install, to me is kind of irrelevant. But it's whichever one you're most comfortable with. I think, but they're both way better than Novu. No sound.
Because I'm
Now
getting it.
now we've got sound from you.
That is very strange. I'm watching my levels in OBS, and I could hear them the whole time. So something weird is going on. We got gremlins in the stream. I think
Do I
Team
sound all
Green.
right, guys?
I hope so.
Somebody in the chat, let me know if it's the stream or maybe it's just Jesse's mic.
But yeah, I like the open kernel drivers too.
Mm-hmm.
They've been improving quite a lot. Not the Nouveau, but depending on your distro, it's Nvidia. Uh,
Yeah, you're very low volume on you.
the pre 10 series, the pre 10 series actually work better on Nouveau.
Right. Okay, thanks, Josh. I'm fine.
Yeah. It makes sense that the unsupported cards are going to work better on something like Nouveau. What are you thinking as far as Nouveau versus the Nvidia Dash Open? Because I've used that some, and
What's up, Danny?
yeah, Hammerheart, what's up? So yeah, we are struggling with my mic today. OBS lies. to us today. And what I'm seeing on the level meter is not what you guys are getting in
You're
YouTube
sounding
land.
better now.
Okay. RTX
Ben says he has
okay.
RTX 2060 on, so Nuvu doesn't work for him at all, which that's kind of understandable too. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, uh,
I have a feeling doing the 1650. I'm probably going to be a candidate for Nuvo soon.
probably, yeah,
Yeah, because by Nvidia standards, that's getting older.
yeah, yeah. Well, Nvidia's doing a whole thing now. I mean, another reason why I'm glad I jumped to Nvidia is because they're seemingly trying to put their focus on their AI computing chipsets and stuff, in their chips that they're building, and almost making gaming GPUs like secondhand thought. It's like, oh yeah, we got these extra,
Yeah,
we can use
they're
them for
getting
this.
into right. They're getting into
Where the money's
computing
at.
and less
They're
in
they're they're
gaming.
they're
Right.
they're, they're playing the same corporate chill game where they're going where the money's at,
Yep.
and that's what they're focusing on because that's their future.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense. Guys, I
so
pulled some bass out of my mic, and hopefully that'll alleviate some of that blown out audio you're hearing.
you're sounding a lot better to me right now. So,
Okay.
but so I think that's where their heart and their minds at right now. So I don't know that I mean I don't think the support for Nvidia is going away in any way, shape, or form for new and existing, because I mean that's still a revenue stream for them, and
Yep.
it's going to be a backup revenue stream. And so
TT. AIs want a
what a game
game
too.
too.
Right. So I mean
Oh man.
that's still a viable revenue stream. So that being said, when they go into it, they're going to give enough support to make it a viable marketable item, and
Yep.
and work decently, that and other. But
Yep.
I don't think the push is going to be outside of making money on it, to actually create these drivers super fast, or the support to be extended for older cards or anything like that.
Right. Well, another thing I think we should talk about with the Mesa stable release is, Intel is making some leaps here. We've got, 265 support coming in on Intel graphics.
On the arc, you mean
And
the arc cards?
on ARC, and I think it's at the driver level. So we
Oh,
might
nice.
actually be seeing it on non-ARC cards too. And I think that's really cool because 265 is so much more resource light.
Well, yeah. I mean, advanced. I mean, it's next stage. So yeah, I think
Yep.
that's gonna be. I think that's gonna be. I think the Intel arcs. I was talking to Josh about it. On
I would be really excited to try one. Not gonna lie, I think Wayland is something that I really am
and
gonna.
and that's what he was saying, that he was really noticing the difference on that it's better that way. And I think budding like they are, they're starting out coming this way, and it's just I think they're going to grow really really fast. They've got lots of already, he's on AV1 H265,
Yep.
yeah. So they've already got
And
a lot of
it's AV1 is the future.
yeah, and they've already got the groundwork laid out for them by AMD and everything else. So they can just build upon that already. So like they're going to catch up really really quick, and those art cards are going to be phenomenal. Now the
Yeah,
question
I
is, are they
think
still going to be budget friendly?
you know I'm actually wondering if the ARC cards are going to be a little bit of a sleeper for a while, where they're gonna sort of sit there undervalued, and a driver update or two is just gonna bring them out into where they were intended to land in the first place.
I don't see that being a non-factor. I think you're right on that. I think it will come out like that, where they're just gonna like they're figuring crap out right now. They're getting shit fine-tuned, so to speak, right? They're getting
Right.
everything dialed in, and then all of a sudden they're just gonna come out like, they're gonna start going for Mike Tyson right off the bat. They're just gonna come out swinging heavy as hell.
Yeah.
And I
And
think I think I think they're gonna be pretty badass cards.
yeah, and again, I'm mixing some topics here, but
Hmm.
the fact that it's going to benefit the Nvidia Vulkan driver, you know, it would be nice to see a better open source implementation for Nvidia graphics because, it's just lagging behind. It's the Nickelback of the Linux
The
driver world.
Nickelback of
Everybody
the
wants to
Linux
hate on
world.
the
Because it wants to be a rock star, right?
yeah, well, and everybody is tired of hearing it. OBS did not like the encoder card. Oh yeah.
Oh wow. For his Nvidia card. See? Nvidia just gets you on every level, man.
Yeah. But I wish that I got to experience the hype for like
Oh, Dad, Josh
Wayland
brings up a
or
great point. Sorry to mean to cut you off. He says that
no.
they're gonna be sleepers until DirectX support for the older and the DX12s are finally not being used as commonly. He brought up a great point, man. That is so true.
Yep.
DT says he didn't realize until the next day when he opened OBS and his computer froze. That'll get you.
So Josh, are you saying like the art cards are ahead of its time? Because that's kind of what I'm hearing from that.
But yeah,
But
Nvidia just gets everybody. I mean, on all kinds of different levels, man.
and it's so sad because coming from dual booting, coming from using Windows,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, the state of NVIDIA drivers right now, you are leaving so much performance on the table under Linux that and it's frustrating.
Yeah, Josh says no, they're not ahead of their time. But
Okay.
uh, it is,
The,
and
the
I'm
driver's just not in the same place. The software is not in the same place.
no, well, like I said, it's fast becoming an afterthought. Every great empire falls as it struggles
Yeah.
and falls, and I think that's literally what you're looking at on in the Nvidia world. It's sad, but at least there are other products out there, just to wrap up the segment, at least
Yeah.
there are other products out there that are becoming very well, that are viable and are going to handle the workload that Nvidia's kind of slacking.
Yeah.
Uh, this week, for me, I needed to, I'm trying to do some work around my computer right now, my Linux OS, which I still haven't made my official switch to what's going to be my new daily driver yet. Uh, uh, I haven't been able to do it because I've been backing up a lot of stuff, migrating a lot of files, that kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
And one of the things is that, I'm an old fashioned guy. You see, I got crap where I write all kinds of crap, like,
Right.
envelopes or paper or whatever. And
Yeah,
so,
you gotta be careful and make those preparations before you switch to something like Gen 2. It makes sense.
yeah, you're right. And so for me, I was like trying to bring myself more into the more modern world, from the stone and tablet age that I'm used to come into the more modern world. And I was looking for an actual note taking app. I ran across one. Actually, over on It's Foss, I was doing some reading for the show and stuff like that, and so I came across it on It's Foss, and it's called Beaver Notes. We're going to talk about some beavers today, baby.
This is a family stream. Excuse me.
What? The cute, lovable brown furry pet. What do you want? So I found this little thing I'm showing them right now. It's called Beaver Notes. And what got me is it's a private open source note taking app, because as most of the note apps that you run across, they're actually, like cloud based and stuff like that. And so you're keeping your stuff, some of your private thoughts, maybe not so private thoughts, because depending on the type of person you are, out there in the ether. And of course, you can get hacked or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And any information out there could be just be gotten. Well, this one actually, what's nice about it is it keeps it locally on your PC for you to use, which I thought was really, really nice. And so I installed it, and that's what I'm looking at, and I'm showing them right now.
Awesome.
How, I have like the Discord bad boy snack ops unit, the Linux tube, and what's cool is you can go and actually have them like you have favorites. They're marked down available. They got different modes like force mode, focus mode, and
Yeah.
all kinds of good stuff. I mean, the two bottom ones that you're seeing right here, the markdown formatting and the welcome to Beaver notes. Those are actually ones that they put in there for you to read and stuff like that. But I mean, you could actually like when you go to create a note. I mean, you have where you can like bold it, italicize it, underline it. You can highlight it. You can do like a numbered list. You can do a bullet point list. I mean, it's very it's actually a full, almost like a suite. It's pretty awesome, for what it is, and I thoroughly enjoy it very much, and I've been using it now for probably a solid week. I mean, I cleaned up the notes that I had because I was going to show my actual instant on there,
Right.
and I
What's the sorry.
and so I hey, what's up, Waffles? And he didn't know he was a bad boy. No, but I've been using it for a week now, and it's been so helpful. And the cool part about it is it's also cross-platform, so you could use it across multiple operating systems and devices as well. So I
Okay.
mean, it's been how are the notes stored? Just a bunch of plain text files. Yes, they're I think they're a bunch of plain text files. Uh, but it's been really helpful, and what I like about it is it's actually stored locally. To me that was important. Because like we tried doing the whiteboard. I mean, a lot of people when we first set up the podcast, when we were doing our first one, I tried doing a whiteboard across. I think it was like Google Drive or something like that. I can't remember what it was across, but we tried
Mhm.
doing a whiteboard, and that was just a hassle. Where
I
this one
mean,
is cool. Huh?
what's the draw to you to have it being local versus something that's cloud based?
Security. Security. I don't. You don't GPG encrypt everything. uh, no, not always, but I have. That's like the Freedom Software Foundation recommends. Yeah, GPT key everything. Yeah, no, but I like having it local. I like having control um of what's being exposed. You know what I mean? As anybody should. If you're not security minded or focused on what data or what information you're putting out there, I mean, that's crazy. Like I see on I'm dating myself here, but I see like on Facebook all the time where they got all these things where people are posting, "Hey, what's your favorite place to go eat, or what's your favorite place to visit, or what's your birthday, your birth month and years, kind of stuff." They're
Well,
doing
yeah,
all
it's
this
data
stuff to
mining.
yeah, exactly. They're data mining, and that's for a reason. So if they're doing that, dude, imagine them trying to get to your notes and stuff like that, where people are going to keep
Don't
like
want
password
don't
notes,
want our
you know,
grocery list, dude.
yeah,
Nobody
exactly.
cares about our grocery
No, but
list.
people do. There are people out there who write notes for what their passwords are and tape it to their freaking monitor. So people would do that
Yeah,
in
I
a
I
note.
have some of my church tech tech consulting clients do stuff like that, or they'll have you know notebooks, literal notebooks full of
Hmm.
passwords, and
But
I'm
there's
just
some
like,
people that'll
guys,
have digital notepads on their phones or on their PC or their laptop if they're working, and they'll put that out there, and that's cloud based. So then now people have access to that.
right? And if they just go to today's sponsor, LastPass. I'm kidding. We're not sponsored.
We're not sponsored. We're so not sponsored.
LastPass, if you're out there, pay some attention to us. I like LastPass actually.
Didn't they just get hacked,
Or- I hope not. Boy, would that
or
be
was it,
embarrassing.
or was it password sites got hacked? I think it
Oh,
was
if not,
LastPass.
I hope not. Sticky note is
The
better than the text
text
file. I
file.
agree with that. But I like sticky notes all the way going back to like Mac OS X, like Snow Leopard. Around
Uh
then
huh.
is when I started using like desktop sticky notes, and I agree that they're great. When I've worked in call centers, I made use of those, to like copy and paste my notes for
Mm-hmm.
different stuff or things like that.
Well, I know there
So
were a
yeah, I
widget.
would
There
agree.
were widgets for a while that had notes that were like sticky notes too. Widgets.
Yeah, I think Windows might still have that, and I think you can do it in different versions on the Linux desktop.
I know
But I
KDE used to
prefer,
have it,
yep,
a
I
note widget.
definitely preferred like an icon-free, clutter-free desktop these days.
Yeah, I love my real estate on desktop. I like to, I have a background picture for a reason because I like to see it.
Right, right.
LastPass. I was right. LastPass leaked customer information. The customer
Boy,
vault for every account, which is the worst
well,
kind of
we're
hack.
gonna have
That's
to take a
right.
clip. We're gonna have to take some clips out of today's episode and really start putting together a blooper and gag reel because that is prime content for it. Like, hey, I love LastPass. You
And
mean the thing that's
DT's
busted?
absolutely right. They all get hacked eventually, and that exactly
Yeah.
is exactly supporting my conversation of why you want to keep everything as local as you can.
Yep.
Keep it local because I mean, like I said, you put, especially like notes. A lot of people don't pay attention to notes. Notes was where people write pretty sensitive information because they want a reminder of it.
Right.
And so that's why I really like Beaver Notes, is because, like I said, it's actually local. Even though it's a text file or whatever, it's still local. And to me, it's more protected that way than if I was in the ether. And
Yeah.
DT says he
That
didn't
makes
back
sense.
up his keys the last time.
It
He
was a
hoped
sad time.
it was a sad time.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a shame, that, well, as the old saying says, in the old hacking thing, if man makes it, man can break it. And people are out there
Yep.
determined whether they're doing it for malicious intent, whether they're doing it for just shits and giggles, fun,
Right.
can I do
Right.
it
The
kind of
why
thing,
doesn't matter. It's the fact that
that
it
it
can
gets
happen.
done exactly. And so,
Right.
you got to
Damage is
safeguard
damage.
yourself. Yeah, you got to safeguard yourself. And I'm hoping that, putting that note out there is something, that note app out there is something that could help somebody else down the road. I mean, is it the
Yeah.
fanciest, greatest looking thing? No, it's kind of plain, you know what I'm saying? But it
Yeah,
does
but
the
if it's
job.
there, it's there to take notes.
Yep, it does the job. So, basically,
I'll have to give it a shot. Thank you for bringing us in on that.
yeah, no worries, man. So I guess you talked about your Novu drivers already, so that was your second topic.
Hey,
So
I
now
really think that it belonged there because the one is helping the other.
I understand that, and that's good, that they are helping each other. But so now my next topic that I wanted to talk about, which is something that shouldn't have. I don't even know why it hasn't been there for a while. It's kind of like the thumbnails for files. You know what I'm saying? In them not having it till just recently, and it's Mozilla finally gets translation natively. You know what I'm saying? I mean, how long is Chromium? And this is more specific to people like us who are content creators that are scouring the net for articles and stuff on different
Right.
things that we do cover. For one use, like me as a distro reviewer, there's a lot of distros that are written and their web pages are written in their natural language, and when you use Firefox, it's hard to actually, you have to get an extension and all this other stuff to try to translate, and even then it's not good. Well, Firefox now has it to where with in 118 it's got it natively, and you got to go through the, it's still not an automatic thing where you just click on the page and it does it, but you go to the hamburger menu, you go to the translation section, and then it'll just natively translate it there by clicking on it. And then you want to
Oh,
switch back, you got
fantastic.
to go back to the original language, show original. But nonetheless, it's there. It's an improvement over what it was. Also, they did an enhancement in 118 on video effects, and the suggestions now for add-ons are going to be in the address bar. And web audio and Firefox now makes the FDLibum, I can't say it, math library to improve its privacy. So it's being more secured. Those are the enhancements they made, but the most important one is the actual native translation. And I can't begin to tell you, like my recent video, Rosa Linux, the Russian-based distribution that I just did. Go to their website. You will see that it's 100% in Russian. And when you click the like I did it in Vivaldi, you click the translate button, bam, it automatically just translates the page. I could read it, but it still had kind of a
Yep.
little nag bar at the top. Hoping that Firefox isn't that way. I haven't did the 118 build yet to see it, but at any instance, I'm hoping that it cleans it up a little bit better, and it will. If
Yep.
not, I'm sure in the next iteration it will. But that's just finally a great thing.
Yeah, I would agree.
Josh says Firefox's translation is done on the machine, right? And Chromium is done on the servers, correct? But I think it's going to be doing it on the servers now instead of on the machine, according to what they're saying. But either way, I'm excited for that. It'll make my workload a little bit easier. So I'm enjoying the Brave. I've been having a lot of issues with Brave here recently, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were going to talk about that because, we spend a lot of time together during the week and I
Mm-hmm.
see your frustrations there.
Yeah,
But
and it's
you're kind of a champion of Brave.
yeah, and I have been, and people know that I have been for a while, and for some reason I don't know why, but I've been having a lot of frustrations. Like theming is getting broken all over the place now. All of a sudden, other extensions that I had weren't working. I've already gotten rid of them. I can't remember the one exactly, but some of the extensions that I was using are getting broken as well. I don't know what's going on with Brave. I mean, Brave Search is still fantastic, but just the
Yeah.
basic day-to-day stuff that I use, I've been having issues with, and so I switched over to Firefox, and of course, some of the old, Firefox aggravations that I had were there. Why I left Firefox were there, but I'm learning to, I'm learning to. Vivaldi is where I'm migrating to. Actually, I'm starting to. I've used it. I've downloaded. I've been, doing stuff. Opera. I've been doing things. I've been doing things in Vivaldi, and I'm actually really liking Vivaldi. One of the things I
Nice.
really like about Vivaldi is the actual sidebar that's on it. I mean, you can get it in Brave as well, but its expandability and flexibility and customization with it is bar none fantastic. I was blown away with that little sidebar, from bookmarks to different. You can add whatever you want onto it. And it's just new ice cat, new ice cat. Wow, DT's really dating himself. But Vivaldi's actually coming along really really well. I really enjoy it, and so for me, Firefox is more of a stepping stone or like a jumping platform. It's a fail-safe backup. But Vivaldi's really sweet. If you have not played with Vivaldi, start playing with it. Even their start page is way better than than like Braves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I've the themes now. Like getting what I like about Vivaldi too. Themes, like you with Firefox and all those guys, you go to like their theming page, and you can actually download the preset themes that they have and install it and get them to work, right? Plus, it uses a system, some system theming stuff like that. Well, Vivaldi
Right.
does all that, but they actually have user generated themes, and they have, I would say, 15 times more than any of the other actual browsers out there. Yeah, and not is it just color themes. Uh, I'll try it when Vivaldi finally admits that they're not open source. Okay, I'm not hung up on those kind of things. That's what Josh says. But anyhow, the thing is, their user generated themes isn't just on like the color themes. I'm talking it's like whole layouts, the whole button reformats and
Mhm.
stuff like that. I mean, there's all different kinds. You just plug and play, and it's pretty awesome. Waffle says they thought they made a statement saying that they only made the UI and it's not open source.
Mm.
It's more than likely. Like I said,
Sounds
I'm
like a
just
hell of a
recently
big
switched. I
can of
don't know the
worms.
history. I don't know the history so much of Vivaldi as much as somebody actually Steve Dark Zero. He
Yeah.
told me to
Where's he
try.
at?
I don't know where he's at. That's true. Where's he at? He's not usually. He's usually here. But anyhow, he told me to try it. Give it a try, and I tried it, and I was blown away. He showed me some of the other things that he does with it. Now, it's not something that I would use, but as a developer, it's actually a wonderful browser for them as well, from what he's saying. And it just I was blown away with the complexity and the actual. It's later. Well, it makes sense why Steve would like it because it's literally the KDE version of browsers. If I had to describe it, it's literally the KDE version. I mean, there isn't one thing on it you can't customize.
See, what's the rendering engine it's using? Is it Qt? Is it GTK? What is it built on?
I want to say it's QT. I think it's QT.
Because if so, then I might try it since I'm having a love affair with LXQT.
Yeah. Oh, DT says Brave has a new version in AUR. Time to rebuild binary for his repos. I'm glad I could remind you that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Josh said that if we do it, I don't know if you caught, but I'm
no
being goofy, and I said the next podcast was going to be in Morse code.
Oh, and Josh is probably the only one out there who could probably read it.
Yeah.
Arch really needs to maintain Brave in their own standard repos. Yeah, yes, they do, and that's another thing that I don't understand. I mean, that's not on Brave; that's actually on Arch. But that is another thing that I don't understand is why the repos. And that's another topic we can talk about too. Is your discovery with Pac-Man on what you're.
Oh, we had a fun time last night. Yeah,
but I don't understand why some of those things that are the basic ones that a lot of people use, like Brave, aren't really maintained on their repos. I agree with you, Steve. Yeah. I mean, DT. They definitely. Sorry about that. Steve's almost got as much hair as DT. Almost. He's working on it. But yeah, I mean, it makes no sense to me. AUR always kind of felt like a cop out for not having good repos. I don't want to use AUR for every. Well, no, you shouldn't. You really shouldn't be using AUR for every package. Only the ones that you know and trust that use. I mean, because every time I've had severe package breakage, it's always been an AUR repo or package that's done it.
Or what if you use the AUR because you are clean building all your packages, treating it like Gentoo with an Arch base?
You're still at risk, man. I mean, those packages. I mean, those packages are so insane. So, I mean, you get great ones out of there, and when you do, it's like, yeah, great. And then you get some that are just they're just like it's not something that is like extremely important, but it'll break your crap. Like an innocuous type of package, it'll just break everything. It's like that's the one thing that I like, and I always tell people, use the actual distro's repos first because they test those for their distro to make sure that they work.
Yep.
And Ben says he's had breakages on Arch and their keyring and Calamars. It's annoying as hell. Yeah, there's a couple of times where I've had the keyring get locked, and you just got to run the unlock command, and it'll unlock them.
Yep.
That is definitely another thing that's an issue with Arch. Arch is not perfect, but then again, it's never claimed to be perfect. And that's an argument that I had in discussion with Steve, and he talked about it on Matt's podcast about a lot of these people, like even Ben, a lot of these people create these Arch distributions, and they make it so seemingly deceptively easy for noobs to get into, when really it's not. It's an actual rolling release type distribution, and you're going to experience those kind of breakage. You got to be a little bit more savvier than just a GUI writer, a GUI jockey, you know what I'm saying, and actually get into some command line stuff. What?
New GNU IceCat is in Arch's core repos.
So there's that.
I mean, Arch breaks Bash.
Yeah, I mean, so.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, so that's something that that's something that a lot of distro creators, developers, and maintainers, when they're forking an Arch distro to make yet another useless distro. Ta-da!
Okay, so Waffles, I want to hear more about this. Arch bricked a motherboard with a grub update, but it was something system D related. What
What?
happened here?
I've never heard.
What
I mean, I've heard
happened?
of Grub Update, breaking stuff, but I never heard of bricking a motherboard.
Right. What is happening where is it writing to?
That's what I'm wondering. What is it writing to that was going to do that on a motherboard? But anyhow, they make these distributions, to be so seemingly and deceptively easy that people think that they're going to get into it and they're not going to experience anything like that. Well, if they're real, I mean, if you think about it, we are talking about Linux. Linux can break at any moment, any time, just because you did something simple, on accident.
Yeah.
So most init systems didn't mount EFI VARs, so a failed grub update will wipe them off your BIOS. Okay. Most of this enthusiasts, you don't have to learn the terminal. Alex, don't be a terminal. No way. No way, man. Love my terminal. But anyhow, it's true. It's very true. I mean, a lot of these people get it, and a lot of friends are recommending these types of Linux to people who need to start off, on a much more stable platform than a rolling release. At least make it a non-rolling release. You know what I'm saying? Josh says EFI systems you actually do write to the SPI flash chip on the motherboard when you update boot entries. EFI boot manager can show you. Yeah. Yeah. So, but I've never heard of it bricking a motherboard though. That's why I was like, I knew about the writing stuff. I just know about the bricking the motherboard. That's interesting. Are you sure it wasn't just a coincidental thing, Waffles? That it was that it just the chip went bad at the same time that an update happened? Pottery says it was intended. Well, he's working for Microsoft now, so he doesn't count anymore. But so, what are you so intensely concentrating on?
Oh, I was trying to be funny.
Oh,
Typing out stuff in the chat.
it's similar to doing the RMF RF. Yeah. Okay, I
Yep.
get you. I get you.
No, I'm just making bad puns, as I do.
Right. So, tell me about
Let's.
your newfound love affair with Pac-Man.
Oh man, so
The package manager.
Pac-Man. I like Pac-Man. I like terminal package management more than I like GUI package management. It's faster. It feels more like using Linux. That little part of our brain that wants to pretend we're a hacker because we're not booting up Windows. But I was actually talking to Alex during our weekly meeting on Friday, and he asked me if I had tweaked the variable for parallel downloads in Pac-Man, and I hadn't. I hadn't done much digging on it, and so we started playing with that. And what did you tell me? You said set it to like 20 or something, didn't
Right,
you?
15,
Because
20.
it was
Yeah.
at the
And
default of
5.
5.
Yeah.
And so we did it. We set it to 10, refreshed, and I got to watch it just go with, all 10. It's like, screw this. Let's try 20. So we spent a half an hour
Yeah.
looking for packages with more and more dependencies just so that we could see what happened. And we ultimately got to something where I tried 50 parallel downloads and that worked. Then we set it to 100.
You went to 100.
After that.
You went like
I went to
banana
100
shit
after
crazy, man.
Right. And so last night we found something. I tried to install something that had 65 dependencies, and it just one-shotted them all because we had set it to 100, and I really couldn't find anything with more dependencies to download that I didn't already have. Because
I know.
I could
We were searching
catch some crap
forever.
for this. I keep all my dependencies after I build. Most
Sensible
set to
distros, yeah,
5.
or 5, yeah. Some of them don't have it set at all. Yep. Manjaro still doesn't have. Yeah, they just still don't have it set last. No, they don't. We were looking. I was reading up on that too, and
Yeah.
they don't. We were looking at that as well. Yeah.
DT, what's the logic there? Are you? I've heard that it's hardware resource management. Where is the bottleneck going to show up? Is it going to hit your CPU first? Is it going to hit your RAM first? Why are we keeping it at 5?
I think a lot of people keep it at 5 just because it's sensible. And it's much like the same reason why ISO, a lot of distros don't try to make their ISO so big, especially developers that are working outside of the US, because a lot of them are, metered internet,
CPU.
and CPU, and they're metered internet as well. So I don't think it's so much as the bottleneck they set it so much for the bottleneck of the CPU, because also, you don't know the CPUs, but also for internet reasons as well.
Yeah, I guess the reason that I went hog wild on it, I'm very blessed and fortunate that gig is affordable.
Yeah, see, DT's saying what I'm saying, third world users, right, which is true. Yeah.
Yeah. So like if we're here in the States or in a country with more developed infrastructure, I guess, setting it to some stupid number isn't.
Well, yeah, if you're on gigabit, I mean, think about it. It's parallel downloads. How many of the dependency packages parts is it going to download at the same time? You're telling it literally to do 20,
tiny,
which is going to speed it up, right? 5 is very tiny, but then if you're on gigabit internet like you and I are, you could bump that to whatever, and you're like you said, it one shot. What was it? Was it a browser?
No, it wasn't a browser. It was Ardor.
Ardor, yeah, Ardor. It just like one shot instantly.
We chewed through it.
Yeah, really, and that had 3 stages that it was doing too.
Yeah, it did like some downloads and a build and downloads.
Every
HTTP connection actually have a bandwidth requirement.
Yeah.
Hey, that's cool.
So yeah, I mean, it's like chewed through it. I mean, it's cool when you can play with things, and really to me, it was the how do I put it? It shows the flexibility of Linux and the package manager as well. And I mean, you take it to the next level. I mean, you went way beyond the next level. You were like on crack stratosphere level, bro.
I was drunk with power. Like
you were drunk. Yeah, I mean, you were way out there on that. I was like, wow, I've seen 20, at the most. When you went to 50, I was like, what? Are you sure? What's up, Springles? How you doing?
Just got off work.
Nice. How was work? Hopefully it was good.
We're talking about unlimited parallel downloads in Pac-Man. Yeah, distros
have to work on potatoes.
On potatoes.
And that's why they set those. And that's exactly why they set those like parallel downloads to like 5. Like I said, it's also like I was trying to make earlier. The comment I was trying to make earlier is that, oh, nice, man. What's up, Ruse79 from Australia? He's in my Discord too. He's in our Discord.
Broadband, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. That's why most people set it at 5, because they're not sure if they're hitting that kind of, user or not. And let's face it, most of the Linux users, are hardcore heavy Linux users, are outside of the United States and those areas where they've got actual, metered internet.
Yeah, and honestly, it makes sense to use Linux when resources are limited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense. But last night, it was fun playing with yours last night.
Oh yeah, it was just watching that happen in real time. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Ardor, when you did Ardor, dude, I was like, what? It was insane. It was insane.
And Josh, I was hoping you would catch this at the beginning of today's episode. Hey, Ru, how you doing? So what I was saying is that it actually made me miss my Gen 2 days.
Yeah.
It made me miss it because I'm like, how far can I tweak this? How far can I push it? How many microscopic bits of performance can I extract from this machine? So, Josh,
Josh,
if I can get it to where I'm doing a custom rolled high performance, if you will,
that's an
build
interesting
on
Gen 2.
on Gen 2, like if I can actually make a difference using Gen 2 on something like a 10th Gen i5, I will spend that time. Hey, there's
Oh,
Steve.
Steve, he joined the
Hey,
chat.
how you
Thanks for the
doing?
super chat. Uh, Josh actually made a point. He says he thinks it's funny that Arch users praise parallel downloads when Fedora and OpenSUSE have been doing it for years. And he's not wrong in that. But also, their package managers are slow as hell. So you, even though they've been doing it, it still makes it's still garbage. It's still garbage on their package manager. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, it's
Waffles
a
is
hot
filing a
mess.
bug report if the conversation isn't about Gen 2.
But I mean, you know, their package managers are just slow. You know, I mean, so what benefit is it if they're doing it? It's not working. Whatever they're doing is not working. You know what I mean? Where with Pac-Man,
Yeah.
dude, you notice it instantly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, that's a mute. You know, that's a mute point there, Josh. Sorry, bud. He says, in his honest opinion, speed benefits aren't worth the effort.
Yeah, since when is Josh gonna go anti-Gen 2? You know, he's finally got us all agreeing on the good points of Gen 2, and then he goes off running the other way. It's not worth it. What?
Springle said that work was great. He only worked a 12-hour shift today. I know those struggles, man. I just got off of mandatory 10-hour shifts like a week ago. So I know those struggles.
Thank you, Steve.
You know, so tell me, you know, you made your switch to Endeavor, and so far you're loving it, right?
Yeah, I really, really, really like Arch-based distros, and you know, if you followed me over on the Zero Linux podcast, I was using Zero as my daily driver, no distro hopping for probably a year or two. And I like the flexibility of the AUR and things like that because I don't like using PPAs on Gen 2 or wow. Sorry, everybody's been saying Gen 2 so much.
Yeah.
I meant to say Ubuntu derivatives and I said Gen 2. Josh is gonna cancel us for that.
He's gonna file another bug report.
But yeah, Endeavor's been great. I really, really like just how fast it feels. It feels very snappy. It feels very lightweight. But I'm guessing that has more to do with stripping down to LXQT than the distro itself. I'm still trying to feel it out.
Right. So, I guess so. With you, you're liking the snappiness and the quickness of it being so light right now, right? Other than that,
I like that I'm getting eye candy and lightweight.
Eye candy and lightweight. Yeah. What is it hitting on your resources?
Let's see. If I pull an H top right now.
I mean, you should be right around. Well, with everything running, you got OBS running, you got Discord running. So I'm figuring you're going to be at least 5 or 6 gigs, right?
I am at 5.4 gigs.
Oh,
out of
close.
my
And then
available,
let me guess, CPU usage. You're going to be right around what, maybe 7-8%, 10% maybe.
Let's see. My GUI says 15.
Okay. Those.
I like straight up top more than H top, and there were hovering between 9 and 15 of my and it's a 10th gen i5 mobile.
Nice. So yeah, I mean, I didn't, I loaded, Endeavor and I've tried it. I don't think I've done a review on it. Maybe I did. I can't remember.
Steve would like enlightenment. Are you mixing me up with Steve?
So anyhow, I did my review of Endeavor, and what
Yeah.
I played with it for a while, and I was on it for a while. For me, it just it worked fine. It was okay. I mean, as any distro, I can make any distro fly if I had to.
Yeah.
I mean, I can make any distro fly, but for me, I just didn't like there. It was way too much purple. I spent so much time theming. To me, out the box, it just didn't appeal to me. Really, the look, the feel, the layout. You know what I mean? It just didn't appeal to me. So I never really gave it a proper shot. But in talking to you and seeing what you did with it, I think I might actually try to give it an actual proper shot.
Endeavor.
Yeah.
The Calamares installer that they're using is very well polished. It feels good.
Hmm.
Lots of stuff that we can talk about on a re-review.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's and so after I got off the meeting with you, because we were talking, I was telling you that last night as well. And after talking to you, I was thinking, I don't think I really gave it an actual proper, earnest try, just because it put me off by all the colors and stuff. I mean, it was just a lot of purple and a lot of just up in your face kind of stuff, and
Yeah,
so.
I think yeah, and you've touched on this before, and a lot of other creators have touched on this before. Putting a wallpaper and a DE or WM or both
Mhm.
and some theming, that's not a distro. That's a rice or a skin. It's not a
Mhm.
distro.
Right.
And a lot of distros are just decorating another distro and calling it a spin or a distro or
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. And so I think maybe that's why I didn't give it a proper try. But I think I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna revisit it and maybe do a review on it, unless you want to do the review on it. But I
yeah,
then we
I'll
could
go ahead
talk about
and
it.
we can put that on. We can put that on my tab.
Yeah, and then we could then we could do that. Uh oh yeah,
Yep.
that's true. That is true. DT makes a solid point that it does offer an online and offline mode, which I think a lot of distros should be doing that because, like I said,
Correct.
in a lot of the major portion of the Linux community users are in an area where they don't have access to solid internet all the time. That's what I call. That's what we call pointlessness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just one of those things where like I said, I didn't really enjoy the look of it so much, so I kind of like disregard it, especially when you got 600 plus other distributions to look at. You know what I mean?
Right.
It just didn't rate. But after hearing you rave about your experience with it, and that's what I was wanting you to kind of talk about, is how you lightened it up and made it really nice and how it flows really well. That maybe we could take a second look at it.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool. I'm struggling to extract as many years from this laptop as I can. I'm over here patting it for good luck.
Well, I don't know. I've been very fortunate that Linux has made all of my, no matter what. I mean, you can put like XFCE, on a laptop, something lightweight, or my desktop. No matter how ancient the hardware gets, and I've got some sitting around here. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And
Now,
it,
if
it just it's to me. That's why I love Linux. That's why I stay with Linux, because I have control over my stuff. I have
yep,
control over my hardware. I have control over old hardware that is still working and supported, and I can get by
yeah,
with it. You
yeah,
know.
I've rescued quite a few machines from the folks at church with
Hmm.
Linux for different stuff, and it's really good at that job. Like if you have donated computers that you want to distribute to the community or something,
Hmm.
some version of Linux is a great way to get that out.
Absolutely, and also, the other part that I like about it too is you're giving people their another view of the computing world that they probably never had or understood. They thought, oh, I can't do that or I can't use that. That's because for the longest time, Linux was like that's the geeks' toy. You know what I'm saying? That's the true
And it
hardcore
still
geeks
is.
thing. I mean, it still
Yeah.
is, but it's become so viable now that you can do the rescues for a good reason and still give them the ability to actually understand what they're using and see what they're using. Because back,
Yep.
I mean, it goes from being just a bunch of command line interface to actual GUIs, which we all know I'm more of a terminal, terminal professor.
Yep. Be great to see more distros try Maui Kit from KDE.
Oh my God. So yeah, you know what Maui Kit is? That is such a great point. And they just did Maui Kit just came out with an actual update, man. Maui Kit is pretty amazing, and it gives developers the ability to write code for multiple different devices. So that's pretty awesome, man.
Yep.
You need
Josh says he needs me to pound the free software drum.
Yeah, Nitrix does use Maui. That's right. So anyhow, that is it for today's stream.
Yeah, we're a little bit over. Sorry, guys. We got some good conversation, and why not?
Yeah, why not? But you know what, man? I will say what we always say, man. You guys keep doing what you're doing. Keep on Linuxing. Stay blessed. Have a great day, and above all, we'll see you in the very next one. Have a good one, guys.
Hey guys.